Hey, Superior Spider fans! Welcome to a new episode of Retrocasting. This is where I take fan casting that one step further and find, through the annals of film history, deceased actors and actresses from the years 1920 through 1970 and cast them in superhero movies. Now, last time out I did Batman, and this time we're taking a shot at Marvel's number one superhero, the wall-crawling, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, otherwise known as Peter Parker. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I'm a huge classic movie fan, so this was an interesting, fun challenge for me. And there are even some choices I had going back and forth on all the way up until the 11th hour, really. So let's get started. Before I start, though, I do want to say I'd be interested to hear what you have to say, so if you have any ideas of your own, please list them in the comments below, or, hey, if you want to do a response video, go ahead. Now, we're going to start with some of the supporting characters and build through the villains, and finally we get to our lead heroes. Let's start with Betty Brant, Peter Parker's first love interest, despite the fact that she was probably 10 years older than him. Good going, Peter. The secretary of J. Jonah Jameson, and eventually she found herself doing all sorts of crazy stuff going on with her life beyond Spider-Man. I really dig Betty, and I think my choice for her would be Gloria Talbot. Now, for those of you who don't know who Gloria Talbot is, she is admittedly not like an A-list actress from her time, but she is an incredibly reliable character actress, wonderful actress, actually. In mostly B movies, she did have bigger parts in like TV episodes. She did a lot of guest shots on sitcoms and crime dramas. And she did leading roles in films, too. She's probably maybe best known for I Married a Monster from Outer Space. But she also has appearances in other B-movies like Girls Town with Mamie Van Doren and a small part in Leech Woman. I really dig Gloria Talbot, and she definitely has the tenacity and even the look. I think she has really There's something about her face that really like comes together for me for this character, and she definitely has a really good attitude that that really puts her above a number of Peter Parker's other leading ladies. Actually, she has a real maturity in her, even when she was fairly young. All right, now Flash Thompson. Now I've gone back and forth on this character too, and I have to say, I would probably grab a bigger star, because I was thinking originally to grab like not a lesser star, but a less big name, because admittedly he probably wouldn't be a very big part. He's only been kind of small parts in the Spider-Man movies he's been in, but I was thinking like, okay, if we get a really good actor and we spin him off into Venom, yeah, you probably want like a really talented, leading man for that. So I thought of Marlon Brando. He definitely has the look, and he has sensitivity and menace that you would want for Flash. He's definitely somebody who could probably easily make you believe that they're a bully, and then turn around and make you feel sorry for him. And of course, yeah, if we want to do like a spin-off Venom film in our fantasy roleplay fan casting, he's definitely the way to go. Next is Shocker, one of Spider-Man's. Yeah, he's not totally A-list, but man, is he a reliable villain. If you need a bad guy to show up and get his butt kicked for a few minutes and cause some trouble, Shocker is your guy. And I think Lon Chaney Jr. would have done a fantastic job with this character. He's basically he's played thugs before, like movies like The Indestructible Man, and let's see, he's also pretty sympathetic too, like the Wolfman movies, as well as Spider Baby. He's definitely a good actor who I think maybe he's a victim of his dad's fame, and there was just something about him that I just enjoy watching. I think he'd really have a lot of fun with this character. Now, Rhino. Now, Rhino has never been my favorite villain, because he's just so dumb and thuggish. I guess that's probably why he's so popular. But definitely, I don't think this character is number one villain material, and I don't think he's going to be a number one villain in the upcoming Spider-Man 2, which is going to mainly focus on Electro. But he's going to be there as well. So I was thinking, definitely, Tor Johnson is your guy. You want a giant, bald guy that destroys everything in his path. Tor Johnson is your guy. Especially if you don't need him to be the leading villain. And, all right, we're gonna move on to the Lizard, Kurt Connors, the sympathetic and kind of maybe stupid scientist who keeps turning himself into the Lizard. I think he likes it, damn it. I am gonna go with Bill Bixby. And Bill Bixby, yeah, he has experience with playing like a character like this for obvious reasons. He played David Banner in the Incredible Hulk series, so he's used to being a scientist who turns into a green monster. So we know he can definitely do this kind of role. He loves to play this sympathetic character. There is a sense of menace in some of his scenes, and I don't think he got to do that as much as maybe as he would have liked. So definitely maybe a younger Bill Bixby before his Hulk days, I think would have done like gangbusters on this thing. Kraven the Hunter, that crazy, crazy Russian hunting bastard. Oh, I have been thinking Johnny Weissmuller from Tarzan. Physically he can do the role. It might be a tiny bit of a stretch. I don't even think he ever even played a villain. But I think he would really relish the chance to jump into that kind of role. That's similar to what he was used to with Tarzan, but done definitely in a completely different context. Like in basically evil, smarter Tarzan. I think he would have a lot of fun with this character. Now, we're going to go to Black Cat, that incredibly original villain that is totally not like some other character we've heard of in comics. Black Cat, Felicia Hardy, is that character that just kind of always causes problems for Peter Parker. And is she a thief? Is she a hero? Is she some other character from DC Comics? I can't remember. But anyway, I think someone who would really give this character some weight in her performance. I really dig the idea of Veronica Lake. Veronica Lake was an actress in the 40s and 50s, and she definitely played those kind of roles, that kind of fatale type of character. She may be mostly famous for her hair. It's really striking, and she definitely would, I think, do a wonderful job with this character. I really dig her a lot. And, alright, now let's go to Hobgoblin. Now, I'm going to go with the original Hobgoblin, Roderick Kingsley. This tricky bastard not only fooled the characters in Spider-Man, the fans, he even fooled the editors of Marvel. Who is this guy? We don't know. I really like him a lot. I think he's a fairly, I don't know, I guess maybe underrated now, but of course, like in the heyday, he was like the number one menace. So, I really like the idea of James Coburn doing this character. And he played good guys, he played bad guys, and his bad guys were very Kingsley-like. He plays villains who are very smart and menacing, and also kind of classy. And I think he even has a look that works with this character a lot. Harry Osborn, who is both a friend and maybe an enemy. He's just the sympathetic son of evil Norman Osborn, who we will get to later. Traumatized by the demons in his life, by his horrible father, his drug addictions, but you want to see him pull through. Jimmy Stewart could do this character. He definitely was good at playing conflicted characters and tormented characters. He's mostly known for, obviously, the heart of gold, average man hero that you'd see in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, or what's that movie everyone likes? I'm just kidding. It's a Wonderful Life, but he was also good at playing characters that had some darkness to them, like Vertigo, for instance. And he would definitely eat up this role of a character that has addictions and problems and psychoses. I really do feel like, because, it seemed like when I have watched him play characters like this, he really does relish the chance. They'd still be heroes, but any chance to play anything. I guess that's why I worked with Hitchcock quite a few times. It was always a chance to do that kind of role. All right, where are we here? Okay, back to main villains. Vulture, the senior citizen of evil. The Vulture. I dig. This actor's been my only choice for him. Burgess Meredith. I think if you pluck this guy out of the 1970s, I think he would be just about the right type for it. He'd be old enough to look the part and convincing, but still able to physically do the part. I had seen him in several parts during this period where he was doing really active roles, like in Foul Play, and and even Rocky for some extent. So, he's just such a great actor, and I think he would make Toombs just so good, and so evil, and I don't think he would play him very sympathetically. I think he'd just go for it. See, that's the thing. You would have a lot of this would be in the performance of the actor, because the character, if not done right, either in comics or film, he's laughable and not really threatening, because it's an old guy. Let's just push him down, take his walker. But definitely, I see Burgess Meredith playing this to the hilt. All right, where are we here? We are at Electro, the guy with the goofiest mask ever. And as a side note, let me just say that choosing the villains for this was a little tricky, because Spider-Man's villains have a lot of crap on their face. They have these huge, ridiculous masks and costumes, turning potentially even Oscar-winning performances into Power Rangers. So I had to think a lot about who could work through the makeup, or what kind of makeup they would, possibly maybe even downplay the makeup, or at least have plenty of scenes with them out of costume. So you could still get it, because all these guys are screwed up no matter what. And Electro, Frank Gorshin. Yeah, I'm going to another 60s Batman villain, but Frank Gorshin, I guess a lot of people hook up with his manic performance as the Riddler in the 66 Batman. And, his giggling and jokes, but you know what? Wow, he could be evil and scary. So I think he would have that same kind of energy, but I don't think he would direct it in the same way, especially if the part was written and directed in such a way that it would have a more mature, scary tone to it. I think he would really, really do an amazing job with that. All right, here we go to a couple of modern guys. Here is Carnage. Carnage is one of those guys I was just thinking about, wow, that's a lot of goop and crap that the actor has to work with. So you have to find somebody who could be the character even without that makeup. And I'm thinking Dennis Hopper, a young Dennis Hopper, would just be outrageous. We've all seen him do scarier performances in, like, Blue Velvet, for instance. And I think he would just have to go all the way there and play completely evil, because is there a sympathetic side to this character? I don't even think so. I don't think that exists. I think the Joker is potentially more sympathetic than Carnage. And he definitely finds places. I don't know if it had anything to do with his addictions in life, that he was just able to just reach further back, and the darker sides of his side that he was able to bring out. But oh wow, what a great actor! And I would just love to see like a younger Hopper play this kind of character. Oh, hey, I was talking about Carnage, right? Well, hey, there's another guy like him. I think his name is Venom. Now, with Venom, I would definitely want to see the Eddie Brock version of Venom, who is still my favorite version of the character. I don't know why Marvel instantly wanted this guy to be a hero, because he was so popular. I love this incredibly thuggish jerk who knows how to get to Peter. He's just that guy who just won't leave him alone, and he's unfortunately stronger than Peter, and he knows everything about Peter because he's been hooked up to the symbiote. And to be honest, I feel more sorry for the symbiote than I do for Eddie. So I think that Robert Mitchum would kill it as this role. Robert Mitchum played plenty of good guys and bad guys, but his bad guys were extremely terrifying, and they were just done in such a matter-of-fact way. Matter of fact, one of my favorite lines about Robert Mitchum was Rob Reiner, actually, when he was talking about him on Bravo's Scariest Movie Moments. He said that Robert Mitchum is just a regular guy who's going to just come over there and kill you. And I think he has a disarming way about him, and he's done characters like this. I think Cape Fear is a good example. So, wow, he could really, really make an... just... the Venom he would do would just, like, be head over the one done in Spider-Man 3. Alright, where are we here? Oh, we're still with villains. And Dr. Octopus. That sneaky bastard, who actually I think is probably one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. I love Goblin and Hobgoblin and Venom, and Doc Ock is right there. I think he was my first Spider-Man villain that I really gravitated towards. And I know I cast him last time in the Batman retro casting, but I just can't overlook Peter Lorre. Peter Lorre, unfortunately, was born way too late to play Dr. Octopus, because he would have been the Dr. Octopus. If this guy was born like 50, 60 years later, we would be seeing him in all these movies, playing villain after villain. He'd be doubling up on characters. Because he was just that strong of a presence. And he knew it too, and he fully took advantage of it. I mean, even people who haven't even seen his movies are somewhat familiar with Peter Lorre. I do recommend checking his stuff out. Wow, would he be the best? I definitely picked maybe a middle-aged when he started to get fatter. Because he was really rail thin when he was young. But, about around, I think the late 40s, 50s, he started to get chubbier. I think that would be a great time for him to play Dr. Octopus. And let's shift over to our good guys. How about Captain Stacy? I think Joseph Cotton would have been a cool Captain Stacy. He just has that kind of air about him. He looks good holding a pipe. And he has if you check him out in movies like Citizen Kane and The Third Man, and even maybe the Dr. Phibes film, although he's older in that one. He he really does have this wonderful sense about him that just this moral sense. At least the way he portrayed in Heroes, a moral sense, but at the same time knowing how dark people can be, and it doesn't seem to get to him. Matter of fact, he was actually one of my choices for Commissioner Gordon last time out. I was just really close on that one. What a good actor. All right. We're going to go to his daughter, Gwen Stacy. Now, this is actually one of the last ones I had trouble with. I was really surprised how difficult it was to cast Gwen Stacy. So, I went with Grace Kelly. Grace Kelly, obviously, she was in a bunch of Hitchcock films, most notably Rear Window, or maybe To Catch a Thief. One of those is probably the one she's best known for. She just had this kind of perfect air about her, and I know a lot of fans kind of put Gwen Stacy on a pedestal, and this is definitely an actress who could meet that impossible requirement. She was funny. She was serious. She definitely didn't seem weak at all. But at the same time, she was somebody who could really, capture what's beautiful about life. So I definitely think she would be the strongest Gwen Stacy I could think of. Okay, where are we? We're going to go to, let's skip to May Parker and Ben Parker. First off, let's do Ben Parker. I think Spencer Tracy. Spencer Tracy definitely could be Ben Parker. Can you imagine him giving Peter the responsibility speech? This actor, just go check out anything this guy's done. Inherit the Wind, Adam's Rib, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Man, what a fantastic... This guy is every bit as good as, his reputation. And I've been looking forward to talking about him and thinking about him doing Ben Parker. I think he would just be magnificent. And May Parker, Katharine Hepburn. Yeah, I went there. You see, Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy did, I don't know, maybe dozens of movies together. They did at least a whole lot throughout the decades, romantic comedies and dramas, and they were a fantastic on-screen couple. And surprise, surprise, they were also a couple off-screen, and they've been together for decades, really. I think 20 years before his death in the 60s. And you could pluck them. This is the great thing about these two. You could pluck them pretty much from any era, a younger era, if you want to go younger with May and Ben, or an older era, to the early 60s. I think any version of that would work, and they just have such rapport together. So the point where Ben gets killed, you really know you're going to feel it when that happens in the story. All right. I only have 3 left. Let's see, let me make sure. Yes. Oh, no, I have 4 left. Excuse me. My apologies. All right. J. Jonah Jameson. This is probably one of the perfect supporting characters. Any actor would just relish kind of doing this kind of role. Any writer just goes nuts with this character. Because he is the establishment. He is the ones telling you can't do it, and I don't approve of you. And he's basically the kind of person we all want to rebel against. What an asshole, and I love him dearly. Matter of fact, he's such a great character. I mean, it's really difficult to think of him recast in the new series of Spider-Man films. Who is going to be able to do that role? Well, with retrocasting, I don't have to worry about any living actor. I can just pick somebody from the past. And wow, I had a lot to choose from of great talented actors of film history. But I would love to see what Jackie Gleason would do with this character. Now, yeah, he's fatter, but he's got everything else for this part. He has played, obviously, he was a well-known comedian, best known for The Honeymooners, and probably second best known for Smokey and the Bandit. He also did, the movie The Hustler with Paul Newman, and he was also an actor as well as a comedian. I think he never really got to be that actor as much as he wanted to. And this is a kind of role which would probably be a small supporting role similar to the one in the Raimi films. But anytime he's on screen, he would just destroy it. And I read recently that he agreed to play Sheriff Justice in Smokey and the Bandit if he was allowed to write and improvise his own dialogue. And can you imagine him doing that as J. Jonah Jameson? Every scene would be his. So, alright. Now I'm up to 3, and I'm going to go with Mary Jane Watson next. And this was definitely a character I had some trouble with, because I'm a huge fan of Mary Jane. She is my favorite superhero love interest, just barely, for me, edging out Lois Lane, just by a fraction. But definitely love this character. And I do like Kristen Dunst and what she was able to do with it. But to be honest, the character wasn't conceived and written in the way that I always thought of her. So, I mean, she could only do so much with what the material was given to her. I definitely prefer the party girl with the attitude, who's a lot smarter and cares a lot more than people might think, and even proving herself to be just as brave as any superhero. I love Mary Jane, and after a lot of thought, I was thinking about this one young actress. She was a model, I think primarily from 19, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. And quickly moved into acting in film. Now, of course, she's blonde, but we've definitely seen this actress with red hair, and she's obviously proven historically that she has no problem dyeing her hair for characters. Do you recognize her? Does this actress look familiar to you? It's Lucille Ball. I'm not kidding. I think Lucille Ball would be a great Mary Jane Watson. Because she had a career, 20, 25 years before I Love Lucy. And she really did excel at playing characters who were driven, who were funny bitchy, who had an attitude and, wasn't afraid of anybody, and were sexually active as well. She could definitely play those kind of roles, and I definitely see her owning this character if given the chance. And I've seen evidence that she was like that very early in her development, so she definitely has that attitude that she could bring to this character. And it's just fun to think about, because we all know her, we think we know her, but she definitely was a lot more in-depth than the silly girl that we think she is. In that way, I guess she does have quite a bit in common with Mary Jane, now that I think of it. Alright, now we got 2 left, and the first one is Spider-Man's number 1 enemy, Green Goblin. That bastard, Norman Osborn. Norman Osborn is probably the most evil of the supervillains. Yeah, there's Darkseid and there's Trigon and Mephisto, but those are all like demons and aliens and gods and stuff. This guy is a man, a horrible, horrible man. And I had a little trouble figuring him out at first until I just simply had it pop in there. And I think Henry Fonda would make a good Norman Osborn / Green Goblin / Iron Patriot. Now, Henry Fonda had a career of playing decent, good American heroes throughout his career, all the way up until the end, with the exception of one spaghetti western film where he played a dastardly villain, and it shocked people. It just wasn't conceivable that he would play this kind of character. I think he could definitely play it. He has the look of Norman Osborn, and I think he really was just jumping at the chance to play a villain. And he definitely, he definitely has an ability to have a cold, dead stare. And he had like comedic timing, so therefore he could be funny and then turn around and be scary. I think he would just be mesmerizing as the Green Goblin. And hopefully he would have a mask that would be well suited to his performance. Alright, now we're done, except for Spider-Man. Spider-Man, Peter Parker. One of my all-time favorite heroes of all time, and I love Spider-Man. Who would I have out of all of film history from 1920 to 1970 play the Amazing Spider-Man? I would choose Anthony Perkins. A young Anthony Perkins. You know, the guy from Psycho, Norman Bates? Now, before you go, what the hell are you thinking? Before Psycho, Anthony Perkins played romantic heroes, conflicted young men who faced adversity. My favorite example is Green Mansions, a film he did with Audrey Hepburn. And, you know, he had this great charm about him, this kind of everyday boy-next-door kind of charm, which actually is the reason why Hitchcock chose him to play Norman Bates, because he seems so disarming and non-threatening. So, he's definitely a character who can play two sides of some psyche and be seemingly non-threatening and then turn threatening. But in this case, he would be a great hero under the mask instead of a psycho killer. What really confirmed this for me was when I started doing a Google search on images of Anthony Perkins. And not kidding, I'd seen several people like have pictures of him and Andrew Garfield like side to side, comparing them. That was all I needed. I think he would be Spider-Man, especially a young Anthony Perkins, like early 20s. He would have it. He would just be so great, and I'm just sorry I can never see him play that role. So, what do you think? What long-dead actors could play Spider-Man and his amazing friends? Now, remember the rules. There have to be active in film and TV from the years 1920 through 1970. What you think? Do you think I have a good list? Do you think I am insane? Do you think I'm smoking a little bit too much Mary Jane myself? Let me know, and I look forward to hearing what you have to think. Anyway, I think that's it for now, so... I forgot. I'm going to try and do this more regularly. I apologize for being so late on the second one. I just want to say that next month, October, I'm going to be doing a new episode of Retrocasting, and this one will focus on Wonder Woman. You heard it. I will see you very soon. Bye, guys.